What's up, Wolverine Nation? Welcome to Week 9 of Waiver. I'm Jay Cameo.
I'm Victor Torres.
And I'm Matthew Barturin.
And this week, sadly, we have no special guest, but
Yeah.
we got the three
The
musketeers
big
here.
trio back.
The big three over here down in South Beach. So,
South Beach.
you know, in Miami. But guys, hey, Week 8 just passed. You know what that means? Trades, and it was a very busy trade.
Very good trade deadline for yours truly, the Dolphins. We got ourselves Bradley Chubb and Jeff Wilson. So, you know, I think we got ourselves a little bit of a haul.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bradley Chubb's a great pass rusher, and even though I never thought the problem of the Dolphins defense was pass rush, but hey, you can always take more pass rush.
Of course.
And he's also 26 years old.
Young guy.
So
Wow, thank
still
you,
young.
Matthew. Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
But also, across the NFL, Calvin Ridley to the Jaguars, which even though he's not going to play next year, he's going to have huge fantasy implications.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Chase Claypool to the Bears, which is...
I think his fantasy upside goes up a lot. Just off that trade alone. He's a lot more valuable now than he was before. Because, I mean, Chase Claypool he shouldn't be on anyone's roster at this point in the year.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I think his upside's a lot higher now because he's
Yeah.
pretty much going in the wide receiver one. I think he's
that-
better than Mooney by nothing. But, like...
And that's also an improving offense. You know,
Yeah.
Justin Fields has gotten much better over the past couple weeks, so I think Claypool over the next few weeks will definitely, take advantage of that.
For sure.
Yeah, it also shows that the Bears front office believes in Justin Fields and is giving him options to perform at a good level to win them games.
Took them long enough, but at least they did it.
I mean, the Packers should take note because the Packers did not do anything another year in a row. Sadly, Aaron Rodgers is going to have
Another bad
He's
season.
just going to retire at some point.
No, he's not.
Sammy Watkins, wide receiver one, baby.
Yep, I know. But, so guys, after all these trades, let's talk about our pickups, right? And speaking of a trade deadline, my guy was a backup running back on the Indianapolis Colts, but got traded to division rival for you guys, the Buffalo Bills. He's Nyheim Hines. So obviously, he's the new Buffalo pass catching running back. I mean, in his time in Indianapolis, he wasn't known for his rushing the ball. That was more Jonathan Taylor. Obviously. And what he's very good at is catching the ball. I mean, I remember it wasn't last year because last year was Jonathan Taylor's year 100%.
Obviously.
But before Jonathan Taylor came into the scene, I remember the Colts would have a split backfield offense, and on the third downs or long downs, they would give the ball to Nyheim Hines in the passing, and he would get like 5 to 10 catches a game, which is outstanding for a fantasy running back. In my
The
opinion.
volume, we love it.
We love it here on the
The only thing Nyheim Hines doesn't bring to us is the goal line touches, but it's the receiving work. He gets a lot of that receiving game effort, and obviously the Bills do not fall back on their running game at all. They are a pass reliable team, and Nyheim Hines probably the best receiving back in football right now. I wouldn't say the best in football, but
top 10.
well, he's one of the
he's
better receiving
one of the
backs,
better
obviously.
ones.
So I definitely like Nyheim Hines to be consistent. Like I think he'll start falling in as like a flex option on everyone's team.
Definitely. I mean,
For sure.
he's available in my league. Hopefully, I can scoop him up before
Waivers close.
Before waivers close this week. But I mean, if you're a team that needs a running back, if you have a strong RB1, a weak RB2, and you have no good flex shop in either receiver or running back, I think this is a guy.
Nyheim Hines is
a
safe.
perfect candidate for a pickup.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've always liked Nyheim Hines. It's just like
I mean, this year
now he's
been,
on the Bills, so I don't know if I can like him.
I mean, I 100% get it, but this year he's been decent, but he got the concussion a few weeks back, so that's kind of held the season back. But he's back 100% healthy, which we always love to see.
For sure.
Victor, who's your pickup?
My sneaky little pickup is Isaiah Likely, backup starting tight end for the Ravens. We don't really know. This is like a rent-a player, if you want me to be honest.
Yep.
Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews went down versus Tampa Bay, and Likely stepped up like crazy. He came in, caught 6 of his 7 targets for 77 yards and a touchdown. He looked practically unstoppable. It was literally just Lamar Jackson throwing to Isaiah Likely is what the game felt like it was. Likely, I'm pretty sure coming out of college was at I'm not sure what it was, but he was graded like the highest tight end coming out of college.
Out of Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, something like that. So he's had a solid season in the receiving game as a backup. He comes into a starting role, absolutely dominates, and it's like kind of obvious. The Ravens rely on their tight ends, their starter and their backup tight end. They use 3 tight end sets sometimes.
Yep.
So Isaiah Likely, he gives them the receiving game. Their backup tight end gives them the run game threat. So I think that they're super ready for Isaiah Likely to come in and just be that elite receiving threat. So if Mark Andrews' injury is serious and you got to have Likely to just he's got to be your tight end for the next 3 weeks, he's likely to ball out.
I was about to say the same exact
let's go.
point. I love that. I love the point, Victor.
Love that.
But in all seriousness, if Andrews misses out this week, likely could be a very dangerous tight end spot.
Likely to be dangerous.
Very likely dangerous. But also, he's going against my New Orleans Saints. And I'm not to toot my own horn, the defense has been playing pretty well this year, and they've only allowed an average of 4.8 fantasy points to tight ends in the NFL, which is the lowest in the league. Now, this is a different scenario because the Ravens literally feed the ball to the tight ends. It's like how the Seahawks do.
The Ravens fall back on that tight end spot.
I mean, why not? They have one of the best tight end groups in the NFL. I mean, it makes 100% sense.
Andrews
100%.
likely, and is Nick Boyle still there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw him. I'm pretty sure I'm getting a few catches in that Giants game, but
They even use Pat Ricard as that tight end.
Paracard, big boy, he's a slot receiver in my opinion. No, but they
fall back on that tight end position. Like, it's bound to just get you 5 catches a game. And Isaiah Likely is a great athlete. Let's see what he does after the catch.
Yeah, it's pretty much guaranteed to have a productive performance. Like, 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
and like obviously, you know me, my I think I've more consistently had a pickup as a tight end than any position this year.
Yeah.
Having a good tight end is so important in fantasy. Isaiah Likely fits that role.
I mean, last week our guest Javi get Greg Dulcich and he got 13 points. So a consistent tight end in fantasy is key to having a good team.
It's hard to come by.
It's hard to come by, especially with all these trades coming up and all over the NFL. Matt, who's your pickup?
My pickup is Latavius Murray. So I got one phrase: goal line touches.
Give it to him. We're at the 2-yard line. We're giving it to Latavius. Look at the play.
That's what it is. That's the meaning of, point production as a running back. Getting into the end zone, and a big, strong running back like Latavius Murray can do exactly that. So with Edmonds, so they just traded for Chase Edmonds from the Dolphins, which is, in my opinion, for the Dolphins, good. But with Edmonds, they'll have a 3-headed backfield with Melvin Gordon, Latavius Murray, and Chase Edmonds.
Let's not sleep on Mike Boone.
And Mike Boone, too.
4-headed dragon.
So, which is cause for concern in terms of a volume standpoint. But at the end of the day, if I was the Broncos coach, I would give the ball to Latavius Murray at the 2-yard line 100 times out of 100.
It's a struggling red zone offense at that point.
Nathaniel Hackett he might be giving the ball to a fan at this point because he has.
They've struggled.
I don't know what he's trying to do with the offense. He has guys who are great playmakers, but he's not putting them in position to make.
It's really strange. It's a really strange situation over there, but with his size and strength, I think it's worth monitoring, the amount of goal line touches he gets and the amount of touchdowns he gets. Last week, had 12 carries, one of them for a touchdown, racked up some points. So I think in the coming weeks, I think he's worth taking a look at.
He's a safe veteran option.
Yeah,
he's a safe veteran
for
option.
Sure.
Never had a fumbling issue. And as you said, he's a big, beefy back. Goal line. Give it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, earlier in the year, the Saints, he's also the only player in the NFL this year to score 2 touchdowns in London. On 2 different teams, which is crazy because the Saints had him earlier in the year, picked him up off the practice squad when Kamara got hurt, and he had the rushing touchdown, which I don't know why they didn't sign him because he's way better than Mark Ingram, in my opinion, even though Mark Ingram's a legend. But but he's great, and he's a big beefy back, as Vic's saying. So the Broncos offense they're gonna rely on the run game because even though they look good against the Jaguars in London, definitely they've improved, but I don't know how much we can rely on this Broncos offense.
For sure.
And as a guy who's been starting Cortland Sutton all year.
Well, last week,
he
had Tony Pollard on his bench, and started Cortland Sutton at flex. So
I thought Russell Wilson was gonna throw the ball to him, but
Jake,
we did that.
Jake, speaking of starts, who's your start for this week?
Oh wow, thank you for doing that, Vic. I really appreciate it. Let's change the conversation from that. But my
he's
start
1-6.
2-6.
Oh, my bad.
But that doesn't count because I'm leading this show in fantasy picks. But my start of the week is Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, there you go. There he is on the screen. Love him, number 9. Now, TikTok boy, we talked him from Pittsburgh. He's a new player. He's not on social media as much anymore. I mean, he is, but not as embarrassing. But the 3 reasons why we should start Juju this week is, 1, Andy Reid off a bye has been historically amazing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. He has 2 weeks to prepare, but off a bye week, the Chiefs' offense has played even better. And also, they're playing a horrible defense in Tennessee. They're going to pass the ball. Tennessee is number 25 against fantasy receivers through 8 weeks of the season, which is a good matchup in my opinion. And then also, number 3, this guy called Patrick Mahomes throws him the ball every single play. And Patrick Mahomes is the playmaker. We all know this. And he's going to give the ball to receivers. He just got Kadarius Toney, which let's see let's see what happens with that because that could be the Tyreek Hill replacement in that offense.
Yeah.
But this week, I
But that's
think
for the future.
for future. I mean, he's in my bench stashed up. Hopefully, a little miracle for me not to get that fantasy punishment this year. But Juju, I think, is gonna have a great game, back-to-back 100-yard games, and given the Titans' inability to stop big plays down the field, there's a good chance that him and MVS, Van Scantling, could have deep bombs like they did against the 49ers a few weeks ago. And sometimes I get it. It's hard to start. It's hard to figure out what Chiefs receiver you're gonna start this week because
any given week, any of them can go. I mean, McCall Hartman last week had 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns, or the week before, whatever it was.
No, and against the 49ers defense, he had 3 rushing touchdowns, which is crazy because we don't know which guy's gonna go off, but which is also a good sign because they give the ball to everyone and they all give the guys opportunities to get down the field.
Volume.
And
volume in fantasy football is
I think that's also a good thing for a scheme, for an offense. Like as a defense, if I went up against Kansas City, I wouldn't know who to
You can't. There's no target guy. You just gotta
cover everybody, and that's obviously that's really hard. So
and especially with the Titans' weak secondary, it's tough. So I mean, let's see what they do this week. So I mean, hopefully Juju goes off and he can do the Corvette in the end zone. So Victor, who should start this week?
My start is Bears running back Khalil Herbert, who's your pickup week 1.
Week 1 or week 2. Let's go, maybe coming to fruition.
So this one is a little bit riskier. I mainly picked this in preparation for David Montgomery to get traded. He didn't get traded. But either way, he's just outplaying David Montgomery. He's coming off back-to-back week with 15 points. And he had 15 points against the Cowboys, which is a super good defense in my opinion. He's getting the carries and he's making the most of them. He's outperforming David Montgomery. And Miami's defense it's solid defense, but Detroit was kind of just running all over them, it felt like. The stats don't show it, but Detroit ran the ball very well. They had 3 total touchdowns from their running backs. It's a tongue twister. So I expect kind of a big game from Khalil Herbert, but a loss from the Bears, of course. Go Fins. But I just think the Bears are starting to trust Khalil Herbert, and they're slightly in preparation for David Montgomery to be out the door this year, next year. I guess he can't be out the door this year, but they're out the door for next year and for Khalil Herbert to try and get into that starting role, get him more comfortable in the offense. So I think Khalil Herbert's a super safe pick this week.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I picked him up earlier in the year saying he's not a guy you're going to start week 1 or week 2, but he's a guy you want to start
later in the year.
Week 9. Wow.
What week is it? Week 9, maybe.
But
you're so smart.
Well, thank you, man.
Philosophical.
Like you.
Wow. Thank you. I really appreciate it. They should put my name on a plaque right there. Waiver wire, J. Camaro, best of all time. But no, he's a great guy for running back, obviously, and they also like to use him in the passing game because
I feel like they give him one screen pass that goes yard every single game. I've noticed.
It's great because.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
Yeah, he's been awesome even against good defenses. So even though Miami's a good defense, they're not the best defense like Dallas is. I think he should get not a huge blow up game, which hopefully not because you always want the Fins to win. But a good 15 maybe plus.
Maybe in my fandom, Khalil Herbert gets shut down and the Bears don't even get a yard. In my waiver wire standpoint, Khalil Herbert has a big game.
Yeah, which we love to see the non-bias in our show. That's how you know we're not telling lies over here on waiver wire, guys. But Matt, who's your start this week?
My start is Jacoby Myers, receiver, Patriots. Him and Ramondre Stevenson, are the bright spots in that offense. It's been kind of a rough going for the Patriots so far this year, especially due to the quarterback uncertainty.
Yeah, that offense has been zapped, but not in a good way.
Yes, it
in
has.
A bad way.
He is averaging just under 16 points a game this season. Very solid and very, obviously unexpected, considering, the uncertainty at quarterback. And last week he had a season-high 12 targets in the win over the Jets. So his best game was this past week, had 20-something points. And at this point, he's seeing consistent usage and production in the Patriots offense, which is exactly what you need in a fantasy player. So if you have good receivers and you need a flex guy, this is the guy. This is the guy. He's been consistent over the last few weeks especially, and I think that he will definitely give you some value.
Yeah, you notice that Mac Jones is starting to find his safe option. Because Mac Jones is one of those quarterbacks that he needs his guy to kind of just feel safe in an offense. Jacoby Myers has been his guy. He was solid last year. He clearly hasn't really found his trust in Devontae Parker. So I like Myers. I don't like the Patriots with anything in my heart. It's my least favorite team.
Trust me.
But I've always really liked Jacoby Myers. He's a very solid receiver. So I think it's a good start. Who do they play this week?
They play a team.
They play the NFL team. Wow.
Oh no,
I
they
like
play.
that.
They
I like
play.
that.
They play Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Which is a solid defense, tougher defense against receivers. But I think that his usage and his volume will give him a big performance, like he did last week. Volume. That's the name of the game. So.
V for volume. Yeah, I mean, I had Jacoby Myers on my bench earlier in the year, but then he got hurt for 2 to 3 weeks, so I dropped him, and
the rest is history.
And the rest is history. That's why I'm not.
That's why Jake dropped me, so I'm gonna do well. That's what he said.
I feel like that's what every NFL player does to me. Jake Camille dropped me. I took that personally, and I'm gonna.
It's any given Sunday at this point, Jake.
Any given Sunday. Hopefully, we like to see some good football. So let's see everyone score 1,000 touchdowns a game. That's what I like to see. 1,000 touchdowns per game. That's what I'm challenging Jacoby Myers to do this week. So, but let's get to our sits. We always talk about the guys who are great. Let's talk about the guys that we don't want to start this week. Now, Dameon Pierce is my sit of the week, and everyone's like, "Whoa, why are you sitting Dameon Pierce, Jake?" Well, here's why. Because here's why. He's playing. He's been outstanding this year. He's been outstanding this year on the Houston Texans. It's been a bad offense. That's Derrick Henry, but hey, with the Texans defenders look like the Texans offense running away from scoring the ball. But Dameon Pierce has been great this year. He's been going 15 plus points, 20 plus points, but he's playing a very tough Philly defense this year. And I think what I'm thinking here is it's a short week. They play tomorrow night, right? They play Thursday night.
Maybe I couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure they play Thursday night, so it's a short week one, and this offense is gonna lean on him. But I think this Philly defense is too good, with new additions they got in trades which was
Robert Quinn,
the DN, to stuff the run game, and Jordan Davis in there, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. The list goes on and on with that defense. But it's a great defense, and they're probably going to contain him. Now, I'm not going to give a certain score because every time I do that, my guy decides to get like 45 points in the game. D-Hop got 20, so let's not count that. I'm talking about Josh Jacobs and Amari Cooper. Those two guys, I said they're going to get less than 14 points. They got 32 points. So
whatever.
So I'm not
it's
gonna.
not. It's not. I don't think it's an unsafe sit. Like it's one of those where it's like reconsider starting him, not a sit.
No, he's a sit because I said he's a sit.
Okay,
so
Jake. All right.
It's Jake's show. It's Jake's show. With a plan out here.
The segment is sit, not start. Reconsider.
All right. But yeah, it's solid. I think the Texans' offense is always like the Texans are just one of those teams where it's like they are gonna do bad against this team.
Defense.
This team, Philly is gonna absolutely dominate them, and that Philly defense has beat out really good teams. The Texans are far from a really good team, so I think it's just a recipe for disaster.
Hey, look, last week we played the Pittsburgh Steelers, which was your set of the week. Najee Harris only had 11 points, so maybe same thing happens this week against even worse.
It's a solid game, but it's Dameon Pierce is like at this point everyone thinks he's like an ARB1. Can't get 11 points at ARB1.
Yeah, well let's see. Well, let's see what happens. Well, Vic, we're talking about the guys who were not start reconsidering. Who's the guy you're definitely starting?
I'm definitely sitting. Michael Pittman.
Keep doing this every week.
You're ruining your own segment, Jake. I'm sitting Michael Pittman. Very this one I'm suspect about. It's risky, but I think it's not totally unsafe. He's had a solid season. He hasn't been bad by any means, but I'm not confident in the Colts right now. Sam Ehlinger is a starting quarterback. Ehlinger was a college quarterback. There's certain players that when they come out of college, they are college quarterbacks, and that is it. Sam Ehlinger so Michael Pittman with Sam Ehlinger, 9 targets for 7 catches, but only 50 yards. So he's got the volume, but yards aren't there. It wasn't a bad game, but Washington's defense isn't that good in my opinion. And he's going into New England, and Bill Belichick literally feeds off destroying young quarterbacks who are super inexperienced and will fold under pressure. Unless your name's Tua Tagovailoa, because he's never lost to Bill Belichick. But the Colts, I don't think the Colts are going to do that good this week. I think they're going to fall, and they have a new interim head coach, right? This guy got fired. Did I make that up?
No, Frank Wright. He's still on.
Who am I thinking? I'm thinking of a different team then. Whatever. But I think
yes, you are.
They might try and fall back on Jonathan Taylor.
That's right. Give him the ball, baby. He needs to be fed. Sorry. Go back to your segment, Victor.
Jonathan Taylor had 16 carries last week. Jonathan Taylor was averaging 20-some, 30-some carries a game last year, and they haven't given him the ball at all. The O-line is still this guy, Jake, you doing all right?
No. You know why I'm not doing all right, Victor?
Because you drafted Jonathan Taylor.
Because I drafted Jonathan Taylor first overall, and he has not. Week 1, 27 points. I'm like, woo, it's a party in here. Let's go. 27 points.
downhill. But speaking of downhill, we're talking about how Michael Pittman's going downhill this game.
Exactly.
I just don't like. I think New England's defense, their secondary, it's young. It's very unknown. Like I don't think any of you guys know who Jack Jones was until he's like first in interceptions this year.
Actually, I didn't know him.
He had a breakout
Yeah,
game
but
a couple weeks ago.
Could you tell me that he was a prospect in college? No.
No.
But he's played super well. That New England secondary, that New England defensive scheme is built to succeed. And as much as I like Michael Pittman, I don't expect a big week from him. Again, these young, inexperienced quarterbacks, they're gonna throw it up to their big guys that they trust. But it's just I think this week is a bad like scheme for Michael Pittman to do well. And I'm not a huge fan of Ellinger.
Definitely, and I definitely think, and I hope they lead on the run game against this New England defense. So hopefully Michael Pittman gets little points and Jonathan Taylor gets
Jonathan
Big
Taylor,
points.
if you are watching this, Jake needs your help.
Jonathan Taylor, I need you, please. I need you to win this week. I'm not trying to get another loss. I appreciate that. I appreciate the listening, Jonathan Taylor. But Matt, who'd you sit this week?
My sit is Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is a running back for the Bills. He's gotten good volume, but he has 0 rushing touchdowns this season as the starting running back.
Crazy stat.
And so 14, 15, 16 carries a game, good yardage, no touchdowns. But he has 1 receiving touchdown, which was against our very own Dolphins. And he has been used a lot in the pass game. In that game against the Dolphins, he had 9 catches and with 11 targets and a receiving touchdown. So that kind of shows like his role in the passing game in a completely pass-first offense in Buffalo. And more importantly, the Bills acquired Nyheim Hines yesterday.
I said that a few minutes ago.
His pickup. And since they acquired him before the trade deadline, now they have a steady receiving threat at running back, which they're probably going to want to use, especially in that kind of offense. So that could hinder Devin Singletary's production quite a bit from what already was an inconsistent, season. 15 points, 4 points, 21 points, whatever. So, so it could take targets away from him. So it could go from pretty good to, maybe not so good because, Nyheim Hines is, as you said, one of the best
receiving threats.
So, yeah, basically that's why I would sit Devin Singletary.
Well, those are great reasons. But Matt, one thing, how many people are starting Devin Singletary in the lineup?
People who are struggling and have Jonathan Taylor.
Actually last week,
like me.
Last week he actually had 21 points. So,
I'd be starting Devin Singletary.
No, I'm joking.
And he was also projected 15 points last week. So
just pulling some
so
strings.
a lot of guys who saw him were like, oh, he's projected 15 points. Oh, let me put him.
No, don't.
No longer.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
We say no.
Just say no.
We say no on waiver wire.
So yeah, basically that's my reason.
No, that's great, and especially with the addition of Nyheim Hines. Even though it's week 1 with Nyheim Hines, I don't know how much he's gonna be used. It's still,
especially for the coming weeks.
But at the end of the day, your receiving back, you're gonna let him catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Nyheim Hines, I've mentioned it. I love Nyheim Hines. Receiving back. That's where he's gonna get all his work. Devin Singletary is a receiving back, kind of, just because he fits. He falls in that Buffalo offense.
He's gonna any running back in that offense.
It's their receiving
back. So.
But I think it drops off Singletary's already minimal production.
Yeah, I think Nyheim Hines was a great signing. I mean, honestly, or a great trade. I think that was awesome for them. So
this also just puts James Cook's production in the pooper.
Yeah, our Bo's pickup not doing too well. But
Jeff Wilson too.
So those are all our picks. Wow. And now before we get to the end of the show, talk about what we're looking for. We forgot to do this in the beginning of the show. I'm deeply sorry that we did this. Let's get back to that white chart right now. I always talk trash about, I'm going to win this week. And Matt's going to win this week. Matt never wins this week. But I didn't win. Matthew didn't win. And our guest, Javi was a close winner. He did not win. Victor, congrats. You get the head this week, Victor.
Thank you, Jake.
You get the head this week.
My Deontay Foreman 3 touchdown performance hosted me to a win.
Yeah, I mean, congrats. You don't always get those every week, so take them while you can have them. No, okay, yeah, but that's pretty much the show, guys. Do you have any plans?
I'd say your face.
Any plans before any talking points before the show ends?
Go Dolphins. We're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of intrigued. From a fantasy standpoint, Raheem Mostert's my RB2 in one of my leagues, and it's the league that I'm
most time put
most in danger in terms of fantasy punishment.
Me too, man.
A little fancy. I can't say the same. I'm like 6-2 in that league.
All right, we're not talking about you. So I'm interested to see how Jeff Wilson fits into this offense with Raheem Mostert. You know, Mostert's been great this season for the Dolphins.
Yep.
Super fast, you know, super efficient. Has literally shoved Chase Edmonds out of the role and then just taken the whole backfield for himself.
He literally shoved them to another state.
Literally. So we'll see how Jeff Wilson fits in that offense. The San Francisco Mike McDaniel backfield is back.
It's
in
back,
Miami.
baby.
So we'll see. I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah, definitely. You know, as a Saints fan, nothing done the trade deadline, which
You know, Jake, I think for once we are gonna give you your flowers. 24-0 win over the Raiders.
I was about to say that.
We're gonna give you your flowers for once. But
Alvin Kamara, he's back in fantasy. Matt has him in my league. I wanted to get him, but I didn't draft the number 1 overall, which I should have because I'm a Saints fan.
because Jonathan Taylor is
Jonathan Taylor
Should have,
Saints fan.
Jake.
But he's back, and it's great to see because 1, he helps the Saints win games, and 2, he produces his fantasy. He had a 43-point performance last week, which was giving me reminders of that Christmas game 2 years ago when he had that 6
touchdowns. I remember that.
And this past week is what we think of Alvin Kamara. We don't think of him as a runner, like how the Saints have been using him early on in the season. Pete Carmichael decided, you know what? Why don't I just go back to what worked? And it worked.
let him work.
Wow.
Let him work it over.
Isn't that crazy? That is just mind-blowing. Like,
You know what's mind blowing? Tyreek Hill with 960 receiving yards on the season.
no, yeah.
And it's week 9.
It's week 9. Come on now.
The Dolphins' offense, especially receiving, mainly receiving, has been crazy, 100%. But also back to Alvin Kamara. He's going back. He's going back to that role where they just
He's a receiving threat now.
They had 10. I'm pretty sure he had 10 catches last game with 100 receiving yards. What other running back in the NFL is doing that?
Austin Eckler.
Maybe Naheem Hines.
Oh,
you guys see what I did there?
Let's go.
No, but hopefully Saints win. Who that play Monday night against the Ravens, and I think it's gonna be a great week of football with all these new additions. So I mean, let's see how T.J. Hawkinson does. Let's see how Chase Claypool does.
We didn't even
Let's
talk
see
about
how-
TJ.
Oh, T.J. Hawkinson.
Which that could be crazy fantasy implications, especially with Irv Smith Jr. out for another 9 weeks. I think is what I saw.
8-10.
8 to 10 weeks. That's so him, T.J. Hawkinson, Naheem Hines, Chase Claypool, Bradley Chubb, Jeff Wilson. Who else? Calvin Ridley, but that's next year because he did some.
We'll be off the waiver wire.
He will be on the waiver wire until next year when someone drafts him. But it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be a great week of football, and we're gonna see all these new guys do amazing in their new teams. And I hope that's what I hope. That's anything else, you guys?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
I think we're ready for some football tomorrow, and then Sunday, of course.
And then Sunday, everyone loves good old Sunday. But Wolverine Nation, that's all we have for Week 9 of Waiver Wire. Remember, I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Victor Torres.
And I'm Matthew Barturin.
And thank you for watching this week.